Go to school, learn all you can. As I said, we're 320 hours. There's longer courses. There's some in the state that's over 400. There's some that's as few as 120. I don't recommend anything under 260 because I don't think you'll learn enough. I think you're doing yourself a disservice.
Welcome to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks. I'm your host, Brian Wright. What you can expect from Beyond the Bulldog is to learn, enjoy, and participate from the comfort of your seat, whether on the road or off. You'll engage in topics and stories from people that work in the trucking industry, including some who work for Mack Trucks. This is mile marker number 13, and we're honored to speak with Van Staley, director of the truck driving school at Guilford Technical Community College. In this episode, you'll learn about Van's dump truck driver's education, how CDL training has changed over the years, and the most important lessons in his curriculum, from safety to language proficiency to truck technology.
You're listening to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks.
We are here with Van Staley. He is the director of Guilford Technical Community College truck driver training. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. For the audience, why don't you share who you are and what you do?
Well, my name's Van Staley. I've been in the trucking business basically my whole life. I started out as a dump truck driver and thought I knew what I was doing, and found out later I didn't, and went to the North Carolina Truck Driver Training School at Johnston Community College in Smithfield, North Carolina in 1983, and I've been at this pretty much ever since in some form or fashion as a driver or an instructor or a director.
Well, let's go to dump truck driving. What was that like? How did you learn to drive?
Well, a gentleman took me 10 miles down the road one way and brought me back 10 miles to where we started and said, "Okay, boy, you know just as much about this as I do. Have at it." That was my dump truck training.
And I'm guessing that was the norm back then.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It wasn't called a CDL. It was a chauffeur's license. I guess that meant I was chauffeuring around stuff in a dump truck.
So someone had shown you the ropes. They said, "All right, you're good enough to go. Let's roll."
Yes.
What was the comfort like back then?
Not very.
Yeah.
The comfort level of the trucks was terrible back in that day. And when I first started driving in 1983, the trucks were predominantly cab over, and trucks have come a long way since then.
Yeah.
I've even had experience driving an old B model Mack,
Yeah.
1958 B model Mack.
Okay.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Kept on running.
Yes. Yeah, and then I went over the road for several years, drove several years with Watkins Motor Lines and then with Levi Strauss. And then one of my instructors from North Carolina Truck Driver Training School mentioned one day that they had an opening as an instructor, and he said, "I think you'd make a good one." And Jack Matthews was his name, God rest his soul. And he got me into this, and my mother was in education, so I gave it a try, and I've been involved in instruction in some way ever since. And that started in April of 1996.
Gotcha. So you had 13 or so years
in the truck.
When you were driving, you said you had that 10-mile back and forth, and then you went to the training school.
Yes.
And then you learned what you should have been doing.
Correct.
What did you learn? How was it different once you took the training?
Well, when you learn flying by the seat of your pants, you do a lot of bad habits and learn a lot of bad habits. And it taught me the correct way to do it, how to check your truck out every day. I had no idea about a pre-trip. It wasn't a thing back then.
Okay.
And then when I went to the school, pre-trip was very prominent. And it wasn't mandated then as far as a thing in schools, but it was mandated by law. It was just a lot of people didn't know how to do it because they'd never had to do it. And I'll be the first to admit, I think that the experience I got at the North Carolina Truck Driver Training School was absolutely some of the best training I've ever had.
Did you ever get stranded because you missed something because you didn't do the pre-trip?
Not that I can remember. I've always been pretty pretty much spot on about pre-trips. I'll be the first to admit that, and I never did, but a CDL pre-trip is not what a truck driver does every day. Most of the time, they do what we call the trucker's pre-trip, which is check your essentials that you know could cause issues.
Because a true pre-trip can take quite a bit of time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you do the truck and trailer properly, minimum of 30 minutes, maybe 45.
Yeah, got it. All right, so how did you stay safe? Did you encounter any things where it really challenged your character?
Not really.
Yeah.
If you had to be careful where you stopped even back then. There were places you definitely didn't want to stop if you didn't have to. So that was about the only thing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you would run into suspicious characters at places you didn't know, and that's how you learn.
Yeah, understood. All right, so you were approached in '96 about getting into the instructing side of things. Why did you consider that as part of your next step?
It just something that appealed to me because I really, really enjoyed the safety aspect that they presented for truck driving. It was a 8-week, 320. No, actually, it's 384 hours. And it was 8-week course. It was from 7 to 6, Monday through Friday, for 8 weeks. And back then, let me put it in a nice way, people were not as gentle as they are now. You know, it's kind of like the difference in the Army in 1965 and the Army in 2025. You know, the drill instructors, what they can and cannot say or do. But
Sure.
This was very much like a boot camp truck driver training school.
All right, so what did you do? What was it like back then?
They were a lot stricter. The rules and regulations of the community college system then were not as consumer oriented then. You know, you could get by with saying maybe things that you can't now. I mean, absolutely, you could say things to people back then that you can't now.
Sure.
And there, when I went to school, the graduation rate in my class was 60%.
Okay.
And that was a high percentage. It wasn't here you go, you give me X amount of money, we'll get you a CDL. You had to. And even when I took it, it wasn't considered a CDL. It was a classified license. And in North Carolina, it was classified A to drive a truck, but it was the first step towards a CDL.
All right, so do you think we need stricter measures?
Personally, yes. I really think that we need a minimum behind the wheel time, a minimum proficiency. We have CDL test, but I just don't think a person can learn the safety aspects of driving a truck and the responsibilities in 4 weeks, say. I just don't think that's possible. I think the more training you get before you get in that truck in a real world situation, the better off you are. And with that said, companies that hire out of schools, they have an extensive training program also. But the higher level of knowledge you have when you enter that job, the more likely you'll be successful in it.
Yeah, I had a guest on here, and he was pretty adamant that he doesn't hire people that are just out of school. He wants people with experience, easier on the training. Now, he's a smaller outfit, right?
Correct.
He's under, I think he was under 10 trucks,
Right.
and doing grading and hauling and things like that. And he's like, one of the hassles for me is to have to hold people's hands when you go from, brand new CDL, no experience to being on the site.
Correct.
Of course, driving in mud's different than driving on pavement, too.
That's true. That's true. One of the things that hold companies back from hiring students is insurance.
Okay.
Insurance costs, that's just like if you have children and when they get their license and they put on your insurance, you know how much it goes up. So when companies hire student drivers, their insurance is higher.
Yeah.
We have a good relationship with a lot of companies, and we get a lot of good feedback from our students. But generally, I wouldn't recommend anything under 240 hours to anyone. Our course is 320. It's 8 weeks, 8 to 5:30 Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Well, that's tremendous because, as you know, the more experience, the less likely you're going to have issues going forward, the more tried and true, not just for the company hiring, but also for the driver. Maybe they realize this is not for them.
Yes, we have that occasionally. We have students who come and stay a week, 2 weeks, and they say, wow, this is not what I thought. I thought it was just sitting there holding a steering wheel. Mm-hmm. They don't realize all the rules and regulations and the federal requirements, the responsibility, because, I'll never apologize for a student not completing a class because they were unsafe, because in my head, when myself or one of my instructors do CDL road test, the one thing in my mind is, would I want this person riding down the interstate at 65 miles an hour next to my family? And if that's a no, it's a no. Mm-hmm. I'll never apologize for that. Yeah. Brian, your family, I couldn't live with myself if one of my students run over and killed somebody in your family.
Yeah. And I think we need to have that measuring stick out there.
It needs to start at the local level.
Yeah. Completely agree with that. And I guess my next thing was to ask, at Johnston Community College, right? You started out as an instructor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And how did it progress? Because you were there for some time, right?
Yes, I was there. Probably total 22 years. I worked there 2 different times. So, but I started out as a road instructor, and I still to this day remember my very first students, because I actually went through Train the Trainer. It was a program that JCC had, where when you came in as a trainer or instructor, you went in with other instructors, and they put you with different ones every day. And I tried to get what I considered the best qualities from every instructor I worked with, and they were some good guys. I still stay in contact with a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's tough when you're training someone who already knows the business.
It
right?
is. Well, but you still don't know how to train the person. Mm-hmm. It takes, I'll never forget this, Ron Nichols was the director of the program at JCC when I went to school there, and he was also who hired me. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he said, you won't be worth a nickel to this program until you've got 2 years in. And I sat and I thought about that, and I thought, wow, that was kind of cold. But then as time progressed, I realized it does take that amount of time to become a competent instructor.
What was the hurdle? What was needed in those 2 years so you can get up to speed?
Understanding that the person you're dealing with in 99% of the cases don't have a clue what they're getting into. Mm-hmm. And you've got to go from the mindset of being a driver and knowing what to do to understanding this person has to start at such an elementary level. You can't let their lack of knowledge upset you, because they're just learning it. But the first student I ever had, to me, was the worst student I ever had. And I guess that was just because it was 2 new rookies going at it.
That happens. And then you deal with this different personality types.
Correct. You get them all.
Oh, yeah. And I see it with some instruction that I do. You have people that are meek, tentative, wide open with ears and learning. Yes. And then you get those who, I'm going to drive the truck. You don't have to tell me. I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
And they may not.
That's
and that could be an experience altogether.
Yes.
So at Johnston Community College, you're a driving instructor. And where does that go from there?
They had, at one point in time, they had just about every truck driver training school in the state that was through the community college system. Everything was run out of Smithfield, and they had a tremendous amount of equipment and instructors. And any community college that wanted truck driver training called Johnston, and they would go set up and do a program for them. And I've done programs literally from Murphy all the way to Edenton. When I worked with, I called it the Traveling Road Show because we had 3 groups that's all we done, went to community colleges that were not at Johnston.
Okay.
And then they decided they would put 2 other sites, and one was at Davidson Community College in Lexington. The other one was at Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory. And instead of having everybody based out of Smithfield, they had some based there, and we would do other programs. I've done the Hickory branch, kind of done the ones in the western part of the state. Shelby, had classes in Shelby. We did classes in Mount Airy, Hickory, and then Lexington. So we kind of covered the state. And I did that for till 2006. And at that time, Johnston was phasing out the non-home base schools, and I ended up as the director of the Catawba Valley Truck Driver Training School at Catawba Valley Community College, and stayed there until 2009, and they merged their truck driver training program with Caldwell Community College. And there was an opening back at Johnston, and so I went to Johnston Community College. And in 2020, I accepted a position at Guilford Technical Community College to be the director of their program. It was a startup, new program, and I really enjoyed the thought of being able to start a program from the ground up. And that's just the evolution of where I started as a road instructor, a lead instructor, a director, and then starting a new program. And we started that program in the year of COVID. And we were going to start in March. We ended up starting it in October of that year. In our first class, we had 9 students.
Yeah.
And it's kind of grown from there, and it's really been my life has been an interesting ride, but I can say this, there's never been a dull moment.
Sure.
And it's very rewarding, extremely rewarding.
When you had a chance to start something from scratch, you get a chance to really highlight the things that you find important. Of course, there are guidelines.
Correct.
As far as minimum hours and things like that. But what are the things that you really wanted to implement?
Well, of course, the thing on the top of the list is safety aspect. Emphasize safety from day one. On day one, our program starts out with the 3 points of contact getting in and out of a truck. If you don't have personal safety, then you don't need to be doing this. And then we move into things that are required by entry-level driver training, for instance. We have that all covered, and then we have our own things. We have safety issues is emphasized every day. Some people take that instruction better than others. Some people, like you said, think they already know everything. Emphasize safety. And then the next thing is vehicle inspection. Because if you get in a vehicle and something's wrong and you don't find that issue, you could hurt people.
Yeah.
Building it from the ground up, I tried to model it after what I had learned myself more than anything. Because good basics in education should never change, in my opinion. Yeah. We evolve, but we don't change what we learned to start with.
Today, we highlight Road Dog Coffee Company and their premium coffee for the highway hero within. Your first order comes with a 20% discount. You can select from many different coffees, from the blonde roast, named Women Truckers Love Coffee, to the popular medium roast, Long Haul, to their dark roast, Black Dog. Road Dog Coffee Company offers its coffee to anyone who supports and loves our highway heroes. Road Dog Coffee is focused on its mission of supporting the men and women of transportation who work hard, day in and day out, because they love what they do and we love them. Your initial order receives a 20% discount. After that, use the code MACK15, no spaces, to receive a 15% discount on your additional purchases. That's Mack 15. Visit RoadDogCoffee.com today and get on the road. We are here with Van Staley. He is the director of Guilford Technical Community College truck driver training. So let's talk about drivers. Are you seeing a lot of people participate in your programs?
Yes, we're staying busy. And in this area, we get all demographics. And the one thing that's changed from the time I started driving is there's a lot more females interested in truck driving now.
Yeah.
We are running roughly 10% of our students as females, which is a big thing. And most cases, to be honest with you, they're probably more receptive to training than men are.
Yeah.
Because they don't come in with the attitude, I know everything. And we've had some really good students, period, but some really good female students at Guilford Tech.
There's a driver shortage out there in trucking. You know, how do you guys keep preparing the students to be in the industry and keep up? Because we got to keep people hauling the goods.
That's correct. And in those Mack trucks.
In the Mack trucks,
That's
of
right.
course.
One of the things that you try to do is temper expectations. And the reason for that is because if they have something that is unreal in their expectations, they're not going to be in it long. So you try to temper the expectations, try to deliver the fact of it's a good life if you enjoy it. I've never not enjoyed anything about it. But it can be a hard life.
Right.
It's not just sitting there holding the steering wheel, driving down the road. You've got so many responsibilities, paperwork, federal laws that you've got to know, not only for safety, but for your own protection. You know your regulations. So not every DMV officer knows every regulation either. So know your regulations to protect yourself, to be safe, know what's required of you. We also teach these students that there's going to be a learning curve. You're not going to know in 6-8 weeks, maybe not even 6 to 8 months, if this is for you. I always tell all our students, give it a year. In the scheme of life, a year is not a long time unless you're planning on dying next week. Give it a year and see if it's really what you want to do. I really had to think hard about getting out of the truck to go to teaching. Number one, the money difference.
Right.
I was making a lot more as a driver than I was as a trainer.
Yeah.
We want to teach them all the aspects. We try to give them up front questions to ask recruiters like, how long am I going to be out? And that's one of the industry's hard things is how long drivers have to be out. That's one of the reasons for the shortage. People get tired of being gone from their families. And the trucking industry is working hard to make that a better situation than it was when I started. When I started, you were gone anywhere from 10 to 14 days. And then as time went on, when I drove for Levi Strauss, it was usually 5 days. Now, you didn't know which 5 days it was going to be. It was generally Monday through Friday, but sometimes it could be Tuesday through Sunday. But, it was generally 5 days. And now they're doing things more regional. We try to get students to check out the companies they're going to. So their over-expectation is a thing that I think that one of the reasons that new drivers don't stay in the business. And the driver shortage, I don't know how long it'll take to get it better. The American Trucking Association, I think, says there's an 80,000 driver shortage now.
It's big.
And it's been that way for a long time. And as the drivers age out, not a lot of young people want to do this.
I was going to ask how many people that are participating in your school are of a younger demographic.
Strange you should ask that.
Yeah.
This is, age-wise, probably the most diverse class I've had at Guilford Tech. We have 18 to 80, literally.
Really?
Yes. We have a gentleman who is currently 80. He's a former truck driver. I guess he's just bored. He says he really wants to drive again. When he first came and wanted to get in, I thought it was a bucket list. I've had bucket list drivers. I had a CEO from a big furniture company one time that when he retired, he came to the driving school in Catawba Valley, and after about 3 or 4 weeks, he said, "Okay, guys, I've enjoyed this." He said, "This was my first thing on my bucket list. I always wanted to drive a truck, and I've done it, and I'm going on to bucket list number 2." So, and then
that's good.
We get a lot of we get a lot of younger folks too. To drive over the road in interstate commerce, they have to be 21, but they can drive in state at 18. And we get a lot of 18, 19-year-olds also. I think we have one in this class that's under 21. Last class we had a couple. So it's a mixed variety of folks. You get demographics all over the chart and ages all over the chart.
Sure. Well, and it's not just those in America. You know, you're getting people internationally in the area, right?
That's
Finding
correct.
new opportunities, trying to fulfill the American dream.
Yes.
Drive a truck, see the nation. What's that been like in your experience?
Well, we get a lot of folks from different backgrounds, different nationalities, different personalities, but we had a little issue with the English to start with because, as you know, they just have recently come up with enforcing the English language law. And that's been a law for a long time. 1937 was when that rule was written. But due to driver shortages and other things, it just hadn't been enforced very well. And we were having students to come to class that did not know English, but they still had the permit. And so we had to develop a English comprehension test. And we have guidelines to where they have to pass that English comprehension test. If they can't, we offer them free English as a second language. That don't cost them a dime to take the course. And once they complete that, they're more than welcome to come.
Great.
But they have to have a 8th grade proficiency in English.
Gotcha. So what's the reason behind it when it comes down to it? What's the reason to have that as you're a trucker?
It's not very well when you can't read a stop sign. And signage, ability to communicate with law enforcement and different entities at pickup and delivery points. I would say in this day and time, if you can speak English and Spanish, you have an advantage. Multilingual drivers would have an advantage because there's so many different languages used in this country. And I agree with enforcing the English proficiency because of the simple fact that I think it's a safety issue. Like I said, Guilford Tech offers the free ESL, English as Second Language programs for people who want to do it, and I highly encourage them. If that's your dream is to drive a truck and you're not English proficient, please, by all means, come out, take the free class, and then come and take the course.
This Week in History.
This Week in History. On July 30th, 1952, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge opens in Maryland. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which connects the eastern shore of Maryland with the state's western shore, was open to traffic. At the time of its debut, this bridge, with the original span measuring 4.3 miles in length, was the world's longest continuous steel structure entirely over water. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge also began its existence as the third longest bridge overall. A parallel span was later added in 1973 to accommodate additional traffic. The bridge is part of U.S. Route 50 and U.S. 301 and serves as a vital link in both routes. As part of cross-country U.S. 50, it connects the Baltimore-Washington metropolitan area with Ocean City, Maryland, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and other coastal tourist destinations. Because of its height over 350 feet, the narrowness of the spans, the lack of hard shoulders, the low guardrails, and the frequency of high winds, it is often cited as one of the scariest bridges in the United States.
This has been This Week in History.
We're here with Van Staley, the director of the truck driving school at Guilford Technical Community College. So let's talk about your curriculum. What does a potential truck driver expect from your particular curriculum?
It's 18% basically classroom. and the rest of it is hands-on, either on the driving range or behind the wheel. And we try to get as many variable situations out on the road as possible. Here in Greensboro, you don't have the Atlanta traffic, but you do have more traffic than you do in, let's say, just a small town like Hickory, North Carolina. And so we try to get them start out with country roads where they don't have the traffic to deal with, and then we eventually move them into even going through allowable streets in downtown Greensboro. And on the driving range, we teach the CDL required backing to make the students proficient for their CDL testing, but we also have setups where it's just blindside backing. We'll do a lot of that. That's backing where you can't see. Basically, that's the reason it's called blindside backing. We have certain places we go that have docks that they let us use at warehouses and stuff to practice backing, and we make them fuel the trucks at the truck stops, and try to make it as real as possible. And generally, our students will have probably 25 hours of behind the wheel time by the time they graduate, and then a lot of hours on the driving range. And we try to keep our student to instructor ratio at no more than 3-to-1. Ideally, we like 2-to-1, but we will have to sometimes due to the amount of students do a 3-to-1. But we also make sure they all are proficient in what we train. We make sure they're proficient in FMCSA regulations. They're proficient in backing as much as they can be in an 8-week course, and then as proficient as they can be in driving. And we administer all the North Carolina CDL testing. So when a student leaves us, the only thing they have to do is go to DMV and pay the money and get their license. We have several third-party examiners for the state of North Carolina to do the testing, and not everybody passes. That's one thing everybody's got to understand. If, like I said, I'll never apologize for a student that's not qualified, not graduated.
With the training, it's both on highway as well as construction training as well, right?
Well, we have a driving range. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
We are getting a new driving range. There's breaking ground on it. That's going to be first class. It's going to be really, really first class driving range. As of now, we have 2 sites. We have one here in High Point, which is located at our High Point campus. It's for bus, Class B bus and passenger training. And then the one we have in our Wendover campus in Greensboro is for Class A only. But once we get the new pad up and going, the new driving range, it'll be all on the Greensboro campus at Wendover, and it will house Class A, Class B, passenger. We are doing refresher courses for people who have gotten out of it for a while. I had a former student contact me a few weeks ago that nobody will hire him because after he graduated, he's done something else for about 2 years, and now he wants to come back, and the only way that he could do it before was to take the class over again, and now we have refresher training set up where he can get back in a swing of things and knock the rust off, so to speak.
Yep.
And he get back behind the wheel and continue. We offer hazmat training. All our programs that you take have the hazmat training, and it's included in the cost. We offer a CDL prep class. Some people need a little help to pass the CDL course, and we have a CDL prep class.
What are companies looking for? What do you hear back from the employers?
The main thing that you hear from every employer is they want a competent and safe driver. It's just that simple. And we try to provide them with what they need. We have what we call an advisory board, which is made up of trucking companies, truck manufacturers. I think we have some of those on there, but we also have insurance folks from the trucking industry. And they tell us what they're looking for, what their needs are. And we try to tailor things to do as much for them as we can. And that's the reason for the development of all the programs that we have now. And hopefully in the future we can grow more. The advisory board is a big part of the.
So yeah, I was going to ask you about curriculum changes. Is it political in nature, or is it kind of grassroots as well? How does that work?
You have to maintain your FMCSA rules and regulations. If they change, you've got to change. And over the last 10 years, there's been a lot of changes. Hopefully there'll be less in the future, because it is time consuming to change everything. We do a lot of the grassroots type stuff. We look for what people are looking for, and we have several local companies that are on that advisory board, and they just come and say, hey, we need tanker drivers. We need we haul gas, and we need people that are competent enough to do that. And so if we can, we'll tailor stuff to suit what the needs of the local community is. As in anything, you have to have a balance between local companies and the big national companies, and we try to work with both as much as we can.
Trucks have changed.
Oh, yes.
We just released the new Pioneer. You saw it in our showroom here.
Yes.
And
beautiful truck.
Thank you. We're proud of it. But with it, as it relates to drivers and being competent on the road, knowing where the controls are, different transmissions, the training's got to change with it too. How's that changed with your experience?
Oh, that's a great question. The biggest change to me in the last, let's say, 15 years is the auto shift transmission. To me, that's been one of the best things to hit the trucking industry since I started. And when I started, you were riding around in the old cab overs that would absolutely beat you to death. And then we've moved into, it's like your Pioneer truck, just the creature comforts that are in it, the aerodynamics of trucks, when I say creature comforts, just 40 years ago, I'd have never thought that that's what it would be. They've just come so far. You can actually have a conversation in one without having to yell at each other. You can ride down the road and it not shake you till your eyeballs are bobbing. It's just really come a long way. And I was fortunate enough to sit in that truck earlier, and the view out of it, if anybody ever remembers viewing out of the old cab over, you could see everything, because when you got there, if you hit something, you were the first person there. And the Mack, you're not the first person there with the Pioneer, but you look like you are. The view out of the front of that is just amazing. Back when I worked at Watkins Motor Lines back in the 80s, they run team, and I was running team with this gentleman, and he was quite a bit older than I was at the time. And his dad was a truck driver back, and his first truck, and I'm glad I'm sitting here, was an AC Bulldog.
Okay.
Now that's how far back his dad went. So that should tell you, the gentleman I worked with was in his 60s at that time, and I was in my 30s, early 30s. And anyway, he used to take his dad down to, he was from South Carolina, and he used to take his dad down to the truck stop, Fine J, I think it was. And his dad would just sit there and amazed at the trucks. Like I said, this was in the 80s. So, if you could bring back some of those old drivers like he was and let them see these new trucks today, that would be just amazing. It's amazing to me.
It is.
And I've been, like I said, the trucks from back in the 80s and the trucks now are just so much better. And that's one thing we emphasize on students. You don't know how well you have it with collision avoidance, the backup cameras, the rear viewing videos, all the safety features, the smart
digital
cruise,
mirrors now, right? Cameras facing back.
And the collision avoidance, like the smart cruise, I think they call it, where if a car cuts over in front of you, it'll space you out and then go back to normal and all that. You didn't have that. When I first started, you didn't even have cruise control.
Yeah. That autonomous cruise control, gives you that space. We had Robbie Taylor in here, and he's a driver, and he's like, that is the best thing in the world, because it sets your distance, it helps in traffic, and he loves it for sure.
Right. The automatic transmissions, like I said, has been a big thing. We still offer manual transmissions if a student wants to drive a manual.
But you can get a CDL without experiencing or learning how to drive a manual today, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It has a restriction on it. We give our students the opportunity to start out in a manual if they want to. But we find as time goes on, I would say we have 20% that stay with the manual. But to me, the auto shift is the biggest improvement in trucking because it gives a driver the ability to concentrate on things other than shifting gears.
Yeah.
Safety, like I said, safety. Making turns, you don't have to worry about shifting. The truck does it for you, and that's just a great safety aspect.
A lot of companies these days are, of course, taking advantage of the safety features, but they're also implementing cameras, not just forward, but also driver-facing too. God forbid there's an accident. Well, then there's the question, what happened?
Yes.
You've got two sides of the story and then the truth.
Yes.
And the cameras oftentimes can capture for the good. Let's say the driver was doing everything right and it just happens to be someone else's responsibility. Are you bringing that type of conversation up to your classes?
We actually have cameras in our trucks.
Oh, good.
Forward and rearward. And that's the reason, exactly what you just said, because I want twofold. I want the students to understand that that's the way the industry's going, but also to protect Guilford Technical Community College and the student driver if something happens. And I'm all for the cameras. I think it's a great safety aspect. I deal a lot with a gentleman named Rick Cates. He's big in the industry in North Carolina. And he and I have had discussions where he does investigations into truck accidents. And the cameras have saved a lot of truck drivers from stuff. Even cameras in towns that are, he's done those type of investigations. And it really helps the drivers. If the driver's innocent, he needs to be proven innocent, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. Truckers are getting a bad rap these days. Big evil trucks, right?
Yes.
The other side of the coin is the fact that anything you purchase, you click on Amazon, you get it tomorrow. That's not because the magic fairy just brings it to your doorstep.
No.
The trucker's responsible for that.
I got a saying, if you bought it, a truck brought it.
Perfect.
If you bought it, a truck brought it. I've never seen a set of train tracks going into the back of a Walmart store.
It's a very, very good point. And these cameras are great. It's showing that responsibility is on the trucking side, and they want to do the right things.
Right. I know a lot of companies are now getting backup cameras on their trailers,
which is
I
fantastic.
Find interesting, very interesting. And the technology, I think as we advance forward, the technology in trucking is just going to go up exponentially. I really do.
Yeah, I would agree. And patience from a driver standpoint, not a trucker, but a driver standpoint, because they're big, they're heavy, they don't have the same visibility. In fact, coming into work, we're in an industrial complex.
Yes.
And there was a trucker backing in a trailer. Not a lot of space between these buildings, but enough. And just watching him back in, he paused, hopped out, because as he was making kind of a 90-degree turn, backing up, he wanted to make sure he was right next to the building, not into it.
Correct.
I'm okay with that.
Goal. We call it goal. Get out and look.
Love it.
And we harp on that,
Yeah.
Get out and look. Most trucking accidents happen going backwards. People, and it may not be a big accident, but, doors get knocked off a lot. So.
And then it's the pressure, right? You've got traffic, people honking the horns, getting impatient. Maybe you missed your first pass at it,
right?
And you just have to suck it up, readjust, and finish it. But if you can have that patience, you can do it and be safe.
Yeah. Most people, when they get out in a truck, unless they're very well traveled, have never been in traffic like they're going to run into. Atlanta, Miami, New York, Chicago. You just keep going anywhere in California. To me, anywhere south of San Francisco is a zoo, and Houston, Dallas. It takes a lot of patience, and you see students who they're never going to make it because they don't have the patience, and you'll see the ones that, wow, they'll be fine because they've got the patience to do it. And that's just a learned trait, because I'll be the first to tell you, when I first started driving, I didn't have any patience. A dumb four-wheeler, but so you have to develop patience.
Sure.
And I think that's been the reason I've been successful in what I do. I have developed patience over the years, not only with other drivers, but with students. And
all right, 2 final questions. If someone wants to get into the trucking industry, what's your advice?
Go to school. You can still skirt around and get a CDL without going to school, but go to school. I'd love to have you at GTCC, anybody that wants to come, and we offer a price point to where we have a lot of out-of-state students come down and stay in a motel or stay with friends. We get a lot of folks out of the New York, New Jersey area coming down. But go to school, learn all you can. As I said, we're 320 hours. There's longer courses. There's some in the state that's over 400. There's some that's as few as 120. I don't recommend anything under 260 because I don't think you'll learn enough. I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Take the extra time, learn all you can, but research the industry. Understand what you're getting into. Search companies. Find one that you think fits your bill, and then call them and ask them, hey, do you take new students? Do you take fresh CDL drivers, or am I going to be required experience? And then make the decision on where you want to go to school. Do an informed decision. Weigh the time, the money, the location of where you're going to school. How far can I drive to go to school every day? Just weigh the whole picture out. Get the big picture, as they say. That way, you're more likely to be successful.
How can people find out about your truck driving school?
Oh, that's a great question. Go to the GTCC website and just type in truck driver training, and it'll take you to the truck driver training webpage. And it'll give you a list of all the programs, or give us a call. We're available 5 days a week and online 7 days a week.
Van, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have really enjoyed it. Looking forward to driving that Pioneer.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you in that soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Bulldog with Van Staley, Director of Truck Driver Training at Guilford Technical Community College. We're working hard to provide the stories and topics that keep you entertained. Let us know what you think about this week's podcast. We are interested in what you want us to cover and what guests you think would make for an entertaining podcast. Please leave your suggestions in the comments section below.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow the Bulldog.